Hello, and welcome to my quick overview of the P&C CPQ. Right now, on the homepage here is the P&C CPQ. Very easy to use. The first couple things that need to happen in order to use the product, we need to plug in your carriers. So our carrier list looks exactly like this. It's 4 pages long. Any carrier that you see with the D next to it, if you have a direct appointment with one of those, you can come into our rater, plug it in, and you're able to quote with it right in the system. Any company you see on here that says MAP, that just means we can get you an appointment for one of those companies. For example, if I don't have an appointment with Berkshire Hathaway Guard for the BOP or workers' comp, they could provide me an appointment so I could quote with them within the platform. This is another service we run in addition to the platform itself. If you need additional appointments to expand your market offering, we can absolutely offer that. Once your carriers are plugged into the system, you're good to go. You can start quoting with it. Couple ways in how that works. I don't have to start quoting by clicking start. I can do that, but I can also upload an accord form. So if I have a 125 or a 126 and I want to have that information on that accord, everything that's in that accord autofill to the correct place within the application, I can upload via an accord form. There's an additional step to where I could actually plug in presets. This is optional. I don't necessarily have to enter in my presets, but this just fills in any questions that you may be spending or answering multiple times throughout an application. For example, if I'm going to quote a GL policy through Liberty Mutual, I can set a preset limit every time I quote a policy through them. That answer pre-fills. You can see here it depends on which carrier and which type of questions that you can pre-fill, but this does help supplement the amount of time it takes to fill in the application. Again, this is something we will help you fill out, but not required, just help supplement some time within the application. Now, if I do click that start quote again, outside of the Accord upload, we do have an integration with Google. So if I were to type in, I'm going to use a restaurant by my house, Kips Inn, you can see I have some existing applications for them, but if I want to click a new one, I select Kips Inn. It autofills the information that it finds on Google. I click confirm. It's going to ask me if I want to use one of the pre-existing policies to autofill some of the information or pre-existing quotes that I've done in the past to save me time. If I click add as new, click next, takes that basic information and asks for the risk. What is the code for this? So if I were to type in something like restaurant, you're going to see it's going to give me a few different options here of the different types of restaurant NAICS codes. So I'm going to say restaurants carryout. Now, if I click next, it wants me to confirm the address. That is correct. I click next. Now I just need to put in the contact. So I'm going to say this is Joey Sample and that we are the CFO. So after I confirm my basic information of who am I quoting, that's where I can plug in what are the policies? What am I going to quote them on? So I could theoretically select all 15 of these if I want. For example's sake, I'm going to select the top 3. You'll notice that if I want an accord form at the end of my submission to have information for the GL, BOP, whatever policy it might be, I can have that at the end of the submission for download. So if I click 125, that becomes available. I click next. Now you can see for Acuity, it already knows the restaurant carryout code that I want. But for someone like CNA or Chubb, where it says 15 matches found, I select one of those codes. It's going to ask me just to pick from one of those predetermined 15 codes. So once I select one, I can move on. I can keep choosing different carriers here. Each carrier is going to identify the specific codes based on what you already plugged into the system. I'm going to go to the GL. Now, if I wanted to quote all 5 of these in my GL, I could click this. It selects all 5 of them for me. Now, if I go down here at the bottom, this will tell me which carriers in my system don't have an appetite for this type of restaurant risk. For example's sake, I'm just going to do auto owners, and we're going to do restaurants, workers' comp. Same process. I can select all of them, and we're going to use Donegal. So now that I have my carrier selected, I can click next. It's telling me that I didn't select any carriers for GL, but that's fine. If I click continue, whatever I clicked is just excluded. Now your submission gets built. So this should have a same look and feel to any other rater that carrier website you may have used in the past to quote insurance. You can jump around in any order. So I could jump down to business exposures or any section here to complete my questions. Again, if I filled out the presets, some of these questions might already be answered for me. A couple differences between our system and a rater. If I click the show only tab, and let's say I click show only required, that removes any question that's not deemed mission critical. It's not serious that I need to, for every single company or carrier that I selected, it's not necessarily required to answer. So it's just the quickest way to complete the submission from A to Z. Huge time saver within the system. You can also flag questions. So if I don't know the answer to any specific question, everyone has a flag next to it. I click those. Those get gathered in the lower left here where it says show only flag. It's great if I don't necessarily know the answer to a particular question. I can come back and answer them later, or copy these questions and put them into an Outlook email to have the insured answer for me. But if I unflag them, they'll just be removed and bring me right back to the quote. Now, when I go through the submission and I answer questions, there might be some questions that pop out and unfold underneath them. Depending on how you answer certain questions, it is a dynamic form, so we do hide and remove questions in the background as you go through the quote and answer them. Now, let's say I get to the end of the submission, I submit my quote. I'm going to go back here in the home page. I can't actually submit that application I created because in my environment, I'm not set up as an agent, so it'll just come back as incorrect. So I'm going to use Pink Olive Park Slope here, my submissions. This I like using as an example to show what the results screen can look like, because it's got a little bit of everything of what you could receive when you click submit quote. So you'll see here under the BOP submissions, it tells me go to quote. So if I click that, I can go right into Guard's website. Again, I'm not an agent, so I don't have a login for Guard, but theoretically, when I click submit, this will create a record within your carrier site to where I can go access that quote. Essentially, there's an API bridge from our side to your carriers. So anytime you submit a quote within here, it'll automatically create a record on the carrier side. You have your blocked example. Someone's already trying to write the comp through Liberty Mutual, so that's blocked. Referral required. I just need to answer one more question for the CNA comp for risk characteristics. And then if I need my accord forms, they will always be at the top of an application on the submission screen. Now I can duplicate this application from here. So if I need to requote them and change anything without having to start from scratch, that's always done from here as well. And then if I select one of these, I can do a side-by-side comparison between the policies. It's a great way to showcase to the insured why maybe they should go with one carrier over another outside of just the best price. Very easy to use, very simple. Once you click submit within the system, it'll say application in progress. Once that has been received, it'll say 1 of 5 responses received, or much like I had on Pink Olive Park Slope, 8 of 8 responses received, 6 of 6. You can bind coverage through the system as well, but very easy and simple to use. Thank you for staying with me throughout the brief overview of the P&C CPQ. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.